Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scoring throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different, and if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit or arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So down in the description box, I have a link to my Buy Me a Coffee. Some of you may have noticed I've been offering classes for the month of January. The first class that is up there that isn't sold out right now is the Manifestation Core Principles class, for those of you who are a little confused by manifestation, or you feel like you're trying a bunch of things and it's just not working. We might be able to help you isolate why in this class, but we're definitely going to go over the fundamentals of manifestation, because really manifestation is only comprised of fundamentals. All the other stuff is added. And the energy experience is the next one, and that's a good class if, for example, you hear everybody talk about energy, but you've never actually seen energy, you've never felt energy. This is a class that's designed to help people have an actual tangible experience with their own energy bodies. So definitely take a look at those two classes if those sound like something that you're interested in. They're very short, limited in spaces. I'm creating a very intimate environment so that we can kind of work one-on-one as we go around, and also so that people are free to ask questions. If these fill up, I will create more classes, so definitely get on there and check them out. Let's go ahead. Okay, that's it. Taking a step aside and allowing Spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. I'm doing this one a little bit differently. We're pulling one card for current energy for the collective that I'm reading for, and the current energy right now is the Singer of the Chalice. So the Singer of the Chalice is an interesting energy because this is where we're trying to either fill our own cup or we're having a lot of outpouring of emotion right now. This may be a little bit of an emotional overwhelm that's being experienced. When we have the Singer of Chalice and we look at the meaning that's inside the book, this really is kind of that overabundance of emotional flow, and it tends to be very serene, very peaceful, but it doesn't have to be, right? The way that it flipped out for me, it was in reverse, and so I think somebody here is going through a very difficult emotional time right now, whether this is just an overwhelm of their own emotions, or if there's an actual situation that's currently taking place that's overwhelming them. Now, there's something interesting that I want to know about this, is that the Singer of the Chalice, this reminds me of the Temperance card, where the Temperance card, they've got two cups, and one cup is pouring down into the cup below, and then it leads to the Devil card in the Major Arcana. And so we may be noticing certain, we may be trying to do a little bit of shadow work now. We may be noticing some self-sabotaging tendencies. We may be noticing certain emotions and certain things that we've once dealt with are starting to bubble up that we thought maybe we had been over, or we just keep revisiting, right? So let's go ahead. I do want to say that the underlying energy of why this is happening is because whoever this message is for, you have been working diligently on creating a better life or creating a better future for yourself. There's something here that we're making, and I almost feel like this is self-making. There may be a endeavor, there may be a channel, there may be, you know, all sorts of things that we're actually working on, but I do feel that at its core, this is self-making. Okay, and the reason why this energy is popping up at this time is because we have Lice, the Moon's daughter, showing up. There's some sort of riddle inside of us. There's some conflicts that we haven't necessarily healed inside of us. And I almost feel that these aren't necessarily conflicts that have to do with anything from the past. They're almost conflicts that we have between decisions that we're making and then the future that we see. Like, we're not allowing our decisions that we're making to line up with a positive future vision, right? So what this looks like sometimes is, and this isn't everybody, right? But this is what it looks like sometimes. Sometimes it can look like, I'm gonna make this choice because I know that this is the right choice for me, which is usually the decisions that we're making, right? This is the right choice for me. But what we're actually thinking is we're worried about it. We're worried that it's going to be like this. Oh, I just know it's going to turn out wrong, but we're still doing it because we feel like we have to. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's going on for somebody. For other people, this is something about the past. It's something that's deeply embedded, something that maybe we really want, but at the same time we sabotage ourselves from. So I'm gonna talk about something because this is interesting. I have that app, The Pattern, right? And I don't know if you guys have that, but I opened it up today, and I have my Venus in Capricorn. So they were talking about Venus in Capricorn. They were talking about how like you're the manifestors, you like build things, and how you know, if you have a moon that's in an air sign or a free spirited sign like Gemini, which is what I have, that this will have been very difficult for you to have stepped into, and it absolutely was. It took me until I was about 42 to step into a place where I felt like I finally got a handle on things. And so there's something like that going on here. In that app, they were talking about how you have a signature for something, and yet something may be working against it. So I want whoever this message feels like it's resonating for. If you're having a lot of emotional overwhelm right now, if you are experiencing this sense that I know I have to do this, but you know, this is the wrong way, or I know I have to do this, but then you notice you have negative feelings about doing it, or negative expectations about doing it, it would be good to like pull back and ask yourself why those two things are not in alignment, because essentially that's what's being said here, is there's something inside of us that's not in alignment. Life's the Moon's Daughter is really about riddles, and riddles that are held inside of the darkness. These riddles tend to affect the things that we're trying to create, the things that we're trying to manifest, and I love that that's even symbolized here by that 3 and 8. For some of you, yeah, okay, that's all I'm supposed to say about that. Okay. Some of you are trying to free yourself from something, and then on the other hand, I feel like there's some of you that are trying to remove the mask as well. This almost feels like where we feel like we have to accept something, and this feels like we have to release something. And these may be different energies, so a person may be in this energy while other people are in this energy. Someone's dealing with both of these. So it's almost as though we're trying to release something, but we're accepting, oh, but this is how it's going to be then, right? And this seems to be causing a lot of chaos inside of us. We have Luathas the Wild, and he tends to be creative chaos. So whoever I'm reading for, you tend to have a lot of creative, passionate energy. And we do seem to be trying to free ourselves from something. This is a collective of pixies. For me, that's my card of freedom, but that in that freedom, as they work to free themselves, there's a little bit of an advice there. It's important to use this energy wisely, to dig into a new sense of creativity. What seems to be happening is that as we're freeing something, that empty space is allowing more time and more energy to go towards this conflict that we have, this internal conflict of sometimes it's catastrophizing, right? Catastrophizing. And sometimes it's just worrying about what do I have to accept, and I don't want to accept that, and we kind of dig our heels in on some level, even though accepting something is exactly what we need to do. We rant and rave about things that we just can't help, instead of understanding how to be at peace with it, right? And so that's kind of the energy that's going on here with this wild woman. I want to say, because of the presence of the singer of the chalice and the green woman, for some of you, and because of all the creativity I'm seeing here, for some of you, you may be finding that this emotional overflow is occurring right now because you're having to go into a more feminine energy. You're having to go into a receptive energy. Now, you may have been in a very masculine energy. So working, doing, constantly, you know, taking care of things, taking charge, you know, pushing ahead, forging ahead. And right now, what it seems like is, it seems like this green woman, this feminine energy, is trying to come up for air. And so this, oftentimes when we have this sort of energy experience taking place, it's going to push all these emotions up with it as well. And this is a perfect time, what's really happening, right? Because I know that some people are going through this and you don't feel like it's a good thing. It's actually an excellent thing, because what's happening is it's bringing up your thoughts, right? Your thoughts, your feeling states up to the surface. And this is a perfect time to be able to analyze them and find places where maybe they're not in alignment with one another. Let's see. Okay. This is a slow process, right? Whatever this conflict is that needs resolved inside of us, it's built up over a course of many, many years of narratives, many, many years of experience, right? Many, many years of solidified beliefs. So somebody here, some of these conflicts, it's not for everybody, but for some of you, these conflicts seem to be based inside of layers and layers of conflicting beliefs that really are taking us a long time to sift through and change or reframe or reimagine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Our human experience, when we go to okay, I want to explain worldview to you, right? So I'm just going to talk about this real fast. So what's really happening here is it looks like you're really stepping into a different paradigm. And if as I mentioned in the beginning with that manifestation course, if any of you take that, you're going to hear me talk about this a little bit more. Somebody here, because of what you're trying to create for yourself, what you're trying to step into, what you're trying to self-make, you're stepping into a different paradigm. The thing is that paradigm no longer requires you to be in this forceful masculine energy. It requires you to be in a receptive mode. It requires you may even be coming into a time where you're not going to be able to work, or you're not going to be able to push, or you're not going to be able to create for a little while. And so this feminine energy is coming up to kind of take control, because she's the aspect that you're going to need coming up. For some of you, if it is about creativity, maybe that's one reason why she might be linked to your creativity. Some of us, our creativity is linked to our masculine energy, so it just depends. 1111, as I looked up, one of the things about it is that as this feminine energy is coming up, she's trying to provide you a softer paradigm in this coming whatever, right? So maybe you are somebody who's trying to get into manifestation. Maybe you are somebody who's having to learn to trust a little bit. These are all feminine energies. When we have these sorts of feminine energies arising out of us and this paradigm is shifting, this naturally upsets the old paradigm. So there's, we're adopting new perspectives or new ways of being, new actions, new habits, and they're in direct conflict to our old paradigm, right? The beliefs, the experiences of the previous paradigm. One thing that's very important for somebody to remember here is that the experiences of the old paradigm were built on a person who is projecting that paradigm. This new paradigm is setting you up to project a different experience. We can't do that when we're filled with worry or we're filled with expectations for the old outcomes, right? So what's happening here is that when we have a paradigm, our original paradigm was built by a baby, right? It's the experiences, it's the systems that we create in order to understand the world around us, in order to understand how the 3D works, how we function within it, our place within it, and our place that we're told that we have. So we develop these from our baby brain, and they're built out of poopy diapers and they're built out of where's my bottle, and these senses of lack and these senses of, oh, there's something wrong down there. And then they're built as a toddler, and then they're built as a teen with all those hormones and those traumas and those heartbreaks, and then they're built as a young adult. This is not necessarily the best way to build a paradigm, right? It's very limiting. It's limited by a developing brain. And my puppy is in a paradigm right now where she needs so much attention. Okay, come on. You don't get loved enough, I know. And okay, say hi to everybody. Divination duo. All right. What's happening here is we're shifting into a bigger paradigm. We're shifting into a broader paradigm. And for some of you, you may not realize that behind the scenes, what's happening is you're experiencing a paradigm death. And there is a mourning and there is a grief process when that takes place. And so some of these emotions might have some grief or some feelings of loss that are unexplainable at this time. Some of you may even be experiencing this just as like an energy that feels weird, right? It just feels a little off. Okay, let's see. Tell me about this new paradigm, please. Oh, let's scoop you in. Okay. Okay. So this is awesome. So this new paradigm, Epona's Wild Daughter, this is where we go inside. This is my shadow work card. This is where she goes inside and she figures out the answers to those riddles. So this new paradigm seems to have some answers to some complicated conflicts that we've had inside of ourselves, right? This complicated conflict that we have inside of ourselves seems to be, in one sense, how we keep ourselves stuck, right? We have Flaff the footer here. He's holding onto his feet. He's not going anywhere. And once we discover how it is that we're keeping ourselves stuck, we're going to be able to transform that energy. Here we have the death card. The death represents a rebirth. It represents something ending so that something new can come. There might be something beautiful underneath the sheet. There might be something hideous. We don't really know, right? Just like the person in the sheet can't see the future that they're holding in their hands. Are you feeling positive about it, or are you feeling afraid of it? That's a good indicator of the paradigm that you're still living in, right? Someone here obviously is going to be very afraid of this because, you know, that's our natural setting as people based on our previous paradigm. This is our default paradigm as people. Many of us have a very similar paradigm, right? Based on shared experiences. The thing about it is that inside that paradigm, there's a war energy. That's what I like to call it. And that war energy views everything and everyone outside of it as an enemy. And this is something that keeps us stuck in cycles. It keeps us stuck in a less than ideal life, right? This is an energy that's trying to fade away. This energy is currently, because of this fading away, it's putting us into this energy, which is what I was kind of reading when I got this. It's putting us into the Rar. And just, I wish I could do all the things that Zachary over at Divine Phoenix Rising Tarot does, because he would have a little lion pop up right now. So just imagine a little lion popped up with a little Rar bubble. It makes me think, well, okay, we're not going there. Okay. With the Rar, this is ungroundedness, right? This is where we're ungrounded, where we feel tossed around, where we feel a lot of emotional chaos, or maybe even energetic chaos, the inability to concentrate, the inability to sit down and do the things that we used to do. And this is all part of that process. Your energy body is going through, or your brain is going through a little period of grief as it's processing the ending of this old paradigm, because you're about to step into something much better, right? This is a better paradigm. Some of you may have even been getting like readings or coming across things that say something is changing, and you're like, what's the change? And it's because the change isn't something outside of you. It's not a change to your circumstance. Before a circumstance can change, usually there's something internal that has to change. And that's what's happening here. You have something internally that's changing. And this is coming because there's a heavy dose of wisdom that's coming because of the deep diving that this energy is causing right now. When we have the Dark Lady, this is shadow work. This is the diving into the underworld, looking into the shadows. And that's what's being caused here by all this emotional energy that seems to be throwing us into a little bit of chaos. This is causing us to have different perspectives and looking at things from different angles, and we're understanding that the thing remains the same, but the perspective on it changes, right? The angle at which we're viewing it changes. And this is going to illuminate a lot of places where for ourselves, because of the past, places of ourselves are still kind of tattered, right? There's areas inside of us that are still tattered, and these are areas that require us to pour more love into them. And I think that this is the huge shift that's taking place for someone. We're coming into an energy where we're about to start pouring more self-love into ourselves, and this is really what pushes us through that gateway. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm supposed to stop there, so I'm going to stop there. If this resonates for you, please hit that like button, and definitely check out those courses if you guys are interested, and I will see you soon.